Okay, what I'd like to do first is to give you an idea, an overview of what we're going to be doing. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a wicking basket by cutting off a 3 or 4 inch section of PVC pipe, drilling holes in it periodically so that it will sit down inside the bucket. Then we will take the lid and we'll cut the inside of this lid so that we have the flat plastic part as one piece and the outer rim is the other piece. If you notice, this lid has some support structures on it, so if you have your utility knife, you can just cut between these guys and that'll work fine. And then that will sit on top of the wicking basket. Then we'll take our smaller PVC pipe and we'll cut a length that's actually just a little bit longer than our bucket so it sticks over the top. And this will be our watering tube. Notice at the bottom of this, I've cut it off at an angle so that it doesn't get plugged up. When you put it down in the bottom, the water that you pour in here can easily get out and it won't get plugged up. So that's an overview of what we're going to do, and I'm going to show you step by step how we go about doing that. So just stick around. Okay, we're going to start by cutting our fill tube. The tube that I have here is long enough to do 2 fill tubes. This tube is a tad over 32 inches long, and I need my fill tube to be about 15.5 or 16 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my tape measure and I'm going to mark 16 inches. And I use this Sharpie marker because it marks on the plastic very well. So here we come down here and we'll mark 16 inches. We just need to put a small mark there. Cover our Sharpie marker back up so that it doesn't dry out. I happen to have a vise here, but as long as you've got a good grip, it really doesn't matter. You do need to hold this pipe fairly tightly as you cut it. I have this back saw, which this is the thickest material that it will cut, but that will surely go through this. Okay, now I have, in this case, 2 pieces about 16 inches long. Now one of the things that I want to do now is cut my angle at the bottom. It's fairly easy to do. Just get started with your saw. Get everything lined up. Get your vise tight. And here I have my fill tube. Now you can certainly cut this with your utility knife. You can certainly cut the pipe with your utility knife. So you don't have to have a saw. You can use a utility knife to do this. So now we have one piece of our urban garden bucket completed. Okay, the next thing that we have to prepare is to cut our wicking basket to length. Now, it can be 3 inches high, it can be 4 inches high, it can be 5 inches high, whatever you want to make it. Just remember that however high this is, the dirt's going to sit on the top, and from here to the bottom of the bucket will be filled with water. So you need to have maybe 3 inches, but I would certainly have no more than 5 inches. These happen to be cut to 4, and I've got a piece of pipe here that's already marked with a 4-inch mark on it. I can use a regular old hand saw to cut this. I try and cut it as square as possible, but it's not necessary that it be perfectly square. So we'll go ahead and we'll cut this pipe. And with this kind of saw, you have to be careful how you start. Let the saw do the work. So here we have our 4-inch section of pipe. As you can see, it's not cut perfectly square, but that's okay. We're going to drill holes in this, and I'll mark those later on. You could certainly cut this with your utility knife. It's going to be a little bit harder to do that. Most folks have a saw around the house somewhere. And the walls of this pipe are thicker than you really need. I think this is Schedule 80 PVC. You can get by with Schedule 40 or even some thinner wall pipe, maybe using drain waste vent DWV pipe. Anything, and there's no magic about the diameter of 4 inches. The diameter could be 3 inches or 5 inches or whatever you want it to be. This is going to be filled with dirt. There'll be holes in the sides of it, and the water will seep into the dirt, which will then wick up into the soil that your plant is planted in. So that's the wicking basket, at least the wicking basket without the holes in it. Okay, now we need to mark the holes in the wicking basket. Is there anything magic about the holes in the wicking basket? Well, no. I like to draw some vertical lines so that I can see where the holes are. And I'm going to draw them about 90 degrees apart so that I'll have 4 lines on my pipe. And then I like to come back in between those and draw another line. That gives me 45 degrees apart. And they're about equally spaced. Again, like I say, there's nothing magic about getting this perfect. Now what I do is I go around and I just pick a number 3. It doesn't matter. I mark a hole somewhere close to the bottom, somewhere close to the top, somewhere in the middle. And I do this all the way around. Somewhere close to the bottom, somewhere close to the top, somewhere close to the middle. Nothing magic about this at all. Takes a little time. So now I have all of my holes marked for drilling. I happen to have a very long drill. It's a 1/4 or 7/16 inch drill, and it's very long, fits nicely in my drill driver. And I can use this to drill through this side and all the way down through the bottom on the opposite side. And I can drill 2 holes at a time using that method. So I put this long drill in my drill driver, tighten down the chuck, and now I can drill holes all the way through like this. You can still drill your holes one at a time if you like, just by following these marks. My battery's weak on my drill driver, so I'm going to have to go change the battery, and I'll go ahead and drill the rest of these holes and be back with you in just a little bit. And here we have our last set of holes to drill. And here we are. Looks kind of ugly, but here's our wicking basket with all the holes drilled in it. Now, as you can see, there are all kinds of pieces of plastic here that can be rubbed off. On the inside there's some as well. You can use your utility knife to do that, or if you have a countersink bit that you can use in your drill, that'll work fine. So now we have our wicking basket and our fill tube completed.